This is a short preview of one of my current musical projects, which is the suite in A minor from the first book of Pièces de Clavecin by Nicolas Lebègue. In this video, I am performing the Sarabande grave from this suite. As always, I will have more to say about this movement when I post the video of the complete suite. For now, just a few brief remarks. As is common with Baroque dance movements, this Sarabande grave is in two sections, with each section repeated. In addition, it has a feature we find in many French Baroque sarabandes, which is called a petite reprise, meaning that after repeating the second section, its last phrase is played one more time, usually with added ornamentation. In this particular Sarabande grave, the petite reprise is really a variant of the last phrase and adds an extra degree of expressive poignancy, and I'll explain in a minute how that works. First, let's look at the harmonic contour of the individual sections. Generally speaking, the two main sections of the piece have opposing melodic contours. In the first section, we have a predominantly ascending melodic contour, since we start on this E. In other words, the piece starts here. And by the end of the section, we have reached a C, a sixth above. In other words, this one here. In other words, we start here, and by the end of the section, we have gotten to this C. The second section, by contrast, has a predominantly descending melodic contour, although there's also a short-lived expressive ascent that takes place at the beginning of the final phrase. So here's where I want to look at the very last phrase of the piece. But before I do that, let me mention that the highest note in the entire piece is the first note that we hear in the second section, at the beginning of the second section. So imagine that we have finished here in the first section, and then the second section starts with this high G. So the first melodic note that we hear in the second section, this high G, is in fact the highest note in the entire piece. Now, what is going to happen in the last phrase of the second section is that we're going to have a brief ascent before eventually descending and cadencing on an A minor chord. So what I want to do now is play the second section, the last phrase, and this is how we would hear it the first time around. So, and you notice that what happened was that we started ascending here with a D, and then an E, and then here's where the second section ends. Except, as I mentioned before, in this particular Sarabande grave, we have a petite reprise, which is a variant of what you just heard. This was the last phrase. So once more, this is what the original, let's say, ending of the second section sounds like. With the highest note being that E. Now, when we get to the petite reprise, the first thing we hear is actually a high F. So we have reached higher than the original ending of the second phrase, because now this is what happens. And you could tell that what happened was not just that we added this expressive poignancy, because we're here the first time, and then we emphasize this ascent. And I hope you could also tell that the beginning of the Petite Reprise was very different. And it's only the last two measures, this, that the original section and the Petite Reprise are pretty much the same. The first two measures are actually different. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the performance.